Catherine Paiz, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got a lot to talk about, obviously. You and your ex-husband, Austin McBroom, started the Ace family, which quickly became quite literally the biggest family YouTube channel ever to exist. And then suddenly you guys went dark. And I think everyone has a lot of questions, which we're going to get into. But first, I just want to know, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like I'm in a new place in my life, and I'm just so excited just to like be free with myself and just be authentic. Not that I wasn't authentic before. I just feel like I'm at just a new stage in my life. Yeah.
You and Austin's last video together was almost 2 years ago. I know.
I didn't even know that.
Almost 2 years ago.
Okay, that's crazy.
Which is crazy because I feel like for so long people watched you every single day. Like you were on our screens for so long. So to go for 2 years, it's been a long time. Why are you ready to talk about all of this now?
I think for me, it's like I felt silenced for so long, and it wasn't like someone was silencing me. I was silencing myself. And I think that for all those years of just not being able to just speak freely and just like really sit with myself, it was really hard, Alex. It was really hard. And I think that now I'm just so healed from all of my experiences, not just my relationship, all of the traumas and all the experiences that I faced early on in my life. I've just healed so much through all of them. Truly, like actually truly. And I just feel so alive. I feel like I can really just be myself, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to be me and sit with myself. And I wrote a book.
Yes, you did.
I wrote a book about, some of the experiences that I had early in my life, into my adulthood. Mm-hmm. And I think through my healing and through writing of this book, I really just like came back to myself.
That's really beautiful because I think so many people always say like, why now to people? And I actually was interested to know like, why now? And I can feel your energy. And like, I think a lot of people who have been your fan for so long have wanted you to get to this point in your life. But I do know a lot of it is a little messy because I just obviously saw some chapters got released of your memoir. And then you have your ex-husband, Austin, coming forward, and he's already commentating on, this is a lie, this isn't truthful, this is exaggerated. How did you feel when you saw him kind of publicly coming out and trying to put down essentially this book?
Yeah, I feel like that's already an indicator of why I never expressed myself, through all those allegations of cheating and infidelity and all those things. It's like, I was so afraid to speak up. I was so afraid to say, I'm an idiot. Like, I just didn't see it, or I was so afraid to say, I'm trying to hold the very little piece that we have in our family. I'm trying to keep that together. I'm trying to shelter the very little piece that we have, and for me, it was like, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what's true or not. There's so many things that aren't true. It's really hard to like differentiate what is true, what isn't, until I really found out.
Okay. We're going to go all the way back because I feel like we know you as the Ace family. We know you as Catherine, a part of the Ace family, but I think it's important, and you talk about this in your book. I want to just lightly talk about your life before all of this. Describe like, what was your experience growing up in your family dynamic?
Yeah. So, my mom was born in Nicaragua. My dad is Panamanian. They met in Panama. They were teenagers when they met. And, they had a lot of hardship. They had a very toxic relationship, just like any young couple that is new to a country, new language, new everything. They didn't have family. They didn't have friends. And so the first half of my childhood, my dad was a single dad. My mom took herself out of that toxic relationship and moved to Florida. And so, I knew she did that for the best of the family. And, It's interesting because I'm like, I had such an awareness even as a child that I like knew like she's doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like I knew that as a child. And I'm like, I know my mom is doing this for us, you know, for the bigger picture. My parents didn't have much money, you know, really nothing. Yeah. And I had this really weird relationship with money. Like I remember thinking like, you know, my mom would say things like, we don't have the money for that, or we can't do that, or, you know, and I remember looking at her and thinking, I'm going to make a lot of money one day so that I can do all the things that I want to do, and I can support you, and I can support my family. And it was like this drive that I had inside of me.
So many adults, you get to that place where you're like, what was lacking in your childhood that then you were craving? Because whether you had friends that had it or you were told you couldn't have it, then it's almost like that goal in your head, which then we'll get to because then you eventually got all of that. And sometimes it doesn't mean that that is the thing that brings you happiness. But when you're young and you have this vision,
totally,
it's like you're going to go for it no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm interested though, hearing you talk about your parents having a toxic relationship. Like, how did their marriage impact you at a young age of like how you viewed love?
Yeah, hugely. Oh my God, that's such a good question. You're so good at this.
Thank you. Stop.
Okay, so I feel like when my marriage was going downhill, we didn't have good communication. That's one thing I take full accountability is I had the worst communication. And I'm still working on it today. I think I've gotten a lot better. But when I look at my parents, I thought, I don't want to be another couple that doesn't make it. You know, I want to have that traditional love. You say your I do's and you're in there for, you know, till death do us part. That was like kind of the way that I saw it, you know? Also having children, you know, you want your children to grow up with both their parents. And that was my dream. It's like, I want to be able to have that family. And when we had it, you know what I mean? And I thought, oh my gosh, like I remember one morning, I remember thinking like, did I make it? Like looking around, I remember, did I make it? And I was like, well, why do I feel so empty?
Let's talk about Austin. Can you tell me how you guys met? Like, how did that all go down?
Yeah. I moved to Los Angeles. I had this fuel to move to Los Angeles. I was super excited and I bought a one-way ticket. My friend invited me to an all-white attire party. And I walked in and I saw Austin from across the room. Austin McBroom from across the room. And I looked at him and I thought, I don't know why, but I feel like I know him. So interesting. And she introduced us and we shook hands and that was it. And then I took an Uber home and I didn't talk to him. So about a month later, he had messaged me on, I think like Twitter or something. He was like, hey, I'd like to send you something. And I didn't respond. So a month went by. And then he messaged me again and he was like, hey, I'd like to take you to dinner. And I almost didn't go. I was like, I don't know why, but something's telling me to go. But I'm just like, I don't know. And so I'll never forget that morning, he was like, he goes, do you like sushi? And I said, no. He's like, okay, well, me neither, but I got us a reservation at Nobu Malibu. And I said, okay, that's nice. Like in my head, I'd never been there before, so I'll go. So we go and we're sitting across from each other, you know, we're by the ocean. And we're talking. He was asking me a lot of questions about me. I thought that was really nice. You know, and he's a young college student. It was like he was going into senior year of college, playing D1 basketball. And he's talking. And all of a sudden, like, I just don't hear anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a person that I'm going to have children with. And that is a person that I'm going to marry. And I knew it in that moment. Like, nothing could tell me otherwise.
What was it about him?
It was just a feeling. It was just this feeling. It's like this inner knowing. And I thought, I just know it's him.
Okay. You write about in the book that the first time you have your first kiss is the same day that you both also say, I love you. Were you nervous at how fast it was moving?
No.
Why?
Because it was just meant to be. I saw this thing recently. I don't know who said this. I'll find out and let everyone know. But she said, when you meet the one or when you meet someone that you're meant to be with, you skip the dating phase. So it's like we just went from like meeting each other to being like we're married kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Who said I love you first?
He said it first.
Did you say it back immediately?
Immediately.
And so it didn't freak you out at all. You didn't feel like it was like love bomby at all. You were just like, this is it.
This is it.
If you had to pinpoint it back then, what do you think was different about Austin compared to all the other guys that you had dated?
Well, one, he doesn't care what anybody thinks. And I find that so attractive. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's like my inner self is like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. But he was like that person for us in our dynamic, you know, taught me a lot. I also think, you know, he's just very motivated. He's a very motivated person. And I was just so attracted to the fact that he was so free with himself. Mm-hmm. And I never met anyone like that. Actually, the only person that I know close to him is my brother. And I always said, oh my God, you and my brother need to meet because you guys are so much alike.
How soon into your relationship did you get pregnant?
Like 2 months. It was so quick.
Oh, wow.
It was so quick.
What was your reaction? What was Austin's reaction?
So it's interesting because the day before we found out, we were at a restaurant and his friend just had a baby. So he showed me the newborn photos and I was looking down. I was like, oh my gosh, like, would you want to start a family one day? He's like, yeah, I would love to have kids one day. He's like, you know, maybe in the future, you know, and he goes like, we'll start a family one day. And I was like, I know, like, I feel it, you know, I feel a family for us. I just knew it. But I didn't know I was pregnant already.
How did you tell him?
He was right there in the room. He was in the room. He was sitting on his belly, you know, scrolling on his phone. And I thought, you know, I feel nauseous. You know, I feel kind of sick. And he thought, oh, maybe we should take a pregnancy test. And I'm thinking like, nothing's going to happen. And I took the test and immediately I stood up. I didn't even think about it. I just stood up. Hey, and I threw the stick at him by like close to him on the bed. And he's looking at it. He's like, I'm like, yeah, I think we're pregnant. And it was, the lines were very faint, so we couldn't tell for sure. But just his reaction. Yeah. And just the way I slept so good that night. I didn't even think about it. I'm thinking we're good no matter what.
You started this YouTube channel, obviously, shortly after that she was born. How did you guys decide to do this?
So when he was in college for that last year, I decided to move in with him. I was pregnant for that whole year. And he had a roommate, like someone that was kind of there just to help with that last year of college because he was playing, you know, D1 basketball and he was still going to school. And then, you know, I was pregnant. And so he was kind of just there to like keep tabs and make sure that everything was good. And he was the one that said, hey guys, like you guys should really start a YouTube channel. And he's like, you know, your videos are going viral on Facebook and people are making money off of them. And I'm thinking like, what? Because we would make like cute little homemade videos, you know, of him talking to my belly or just us being funny and goofy or whatever. And he's like, people are taking your videos and monetizing your videos. Why don't you guys make your own videos? And I thought, can we do that? You can make money off your videos? I'm like what? Like, that's so crazy. And at the time, you know, his dreams were to play in the NBA. And that summer, you know, he got with the wrong agent and he did a couple tryouts, you know, one with the Lakers, one with the Knicks. And just, it didn't work out. And we thought, what are we going to do? Like either you go play overseas, in Greece or something. We move we go as a family but nothing is, you know, set in stone. Like we don't know what that looks like. And so then that's when we were like, let's start YouTube.
Back in the beginning, once Elle was born, whose decision was it to make her a part of the content?
It just came naturally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I didn't film my birth with Elle. It was like, you know, we were just private, you know, we filmed on our phone, you know, we weren't making a vlog. And I think like it just made sense because we're so hands-on with our child and I was not going to get a nanny. I'm like, I'm going to raise my daughter, you know, I'm finally have my daughter here, you know, and I thought, well, we can make content with our daughter, you know, we can just naturally, organically share our journey. Did
you have any hesitations in the beginning or later on about putting your kids on camera?
Never. And you know why, Alex? Why? Because back in the day, it was really new. Like YouTube, it's been a thing for a while, but we were really like that, like, I hate to say the word, but I feel like we kind of pioneered that like family vlogging experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we were the first to do it at that magnitude in that way. And it was like, it was like when this monster of like social media was starting, you know, sometimes I think back and I'm like, oh my God, am I part of that, this craziness that's going on now in the world, you know?
Because obviously, I'm sure you've seen it, but like there are people that accuse you and Austin of exploiting your kids. Like, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I just think that like when we first started, it was so pure. It was like pure intentions. It was like, obviously we want to make a living, you know, like anyone wants to make a living, you got to work. But it was more like we're just being present with our family, our daughter. And it's interesting because we would make these elaborate videos and we found out very early on that people enjoyed our family vlogs, our simple family vlogs sitting on the floor. Those would get more views than our like big elaborated videos we would spend money on and doing. So it was just like, well, people just want to see us. They just relate to us. Maybe they see themselves in us.
So much of your success is through your children. Like, did you guys have a big conversation about setting them up with money and like putting money away for them? Or was it more just like, it's all the families?
Yeah. No, they have their separate bank accounts. I actually very early on in my career, I think 2017 when Elle was about a year old, we got her a bank account, you know? Yeah, I think that those were the conversations and things we were having.
Yeah.
But in terms of like exploitation and stuff like that never crossed our mind. Yeah. That was like, I just feel like we were just the beginning of something new.
How do you feel about it now?
You know, we're in the age of technology and, you know, it's like, there's no right or wrong, I don't think. Like, I think that like if people choose to keep their certain private things away from social media, that's beautiful. And I think that if some people choose to do it the opposite way, I think that that's beautiful too. I think that everything's meant to be the way that it's meant to be.
Once you guys kind of started really becoming yourselves and people knew the Ace family, like on a good month, can I ask, like, how much were you guys making?
So there was a period we were making seven figures a month. To me, it was like I was numb to it. Truly, like it was just like it didn't make any sense. I was going through this phase in my life where I just felt so disattached, and now I look back and think, oh my God, I would have done so much with that. I would have invested. I would have bought my mom a house, my dad a house. I would have done this and that. And it's like, we just didn't have the right mentors. We didn't have the right tools. You know, we had a lot of yes men around us and we just made really bad business decisions along the way.
Once you guys started filming everything all the time, when did it start to feel like you weren't just filming parts of your life, but you were living to film and get content? Like, when do you think that switch happens? Because I feel like for a lot of creators, it happens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There was moments where I'm like, because, you know, like big reveals and stuff, like people want to watch those. That's a great clickbait. And so, you know, it was genuine for a long time. It was like, okay, like he's genuinely surprising me. He's genuinely proposing to me. Like, it was like, wow, like this is so crazy that we can capture such a big milestone, big moment, and we can actually look back on it too, like it's filmed. But then also having so many eyes on you. I didn't know back in the time, now I know, but I didn't know that I was not protecting myself. But the moment that I realized where I don't know if this is real or not real, I don't know. That must have happened genuinely. There was like a big moment for me. It was when my second daughter was born. I just felt this disconnection, and it was like, I actually don't want to film this, but like, I know that people are waiting for it because they've invested so much. And there was this fine line of like, do I put my foot down and just like live in the moment, or do I also and then he was holding the camera, so it made it easier. But then it was like, is he here though? Is he present? So that was like a big moment for me.
And did you end up releasing a video?
Oh, yeah.
How did you feel about it?
I was just like really numb and empty at the time. Yeah.
Did you ever find that you started to not be clear if Austin was doing romantic gestures for you because he was filming it so it would look good for you guys as a couple? Or were you like, wait, is he actually doing this romantic gesture and he just happens to be filming?
Oh, totally. Yeah, there was moments where I'm thinking like, I don't know, like, you really surprised me, you know? Whereas like, and then it was like me kind of having to follow with that like surprise. And then I'm like, I feel like I'm a clown in a circus. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you couldn't just naturally be like if my husband surprises me, of course I'm going to be surprised. But then you kind of like chill for a second after and be like, wait, when did you think of this? But you see the camera. So then it's like, keep it going, call the kids down, get everyone around. Let's run to the backyard. And it's like, it's a production.
Yeah.
And it's theatrical. Which feels like you probably were on this hamster wheel where it's like, you can't get off this ride almost. And did you and Austin ever have a conversation being like, let's set boundaries of like what we should keep private and what we shouldn't?
There might have been moments where we kind of talked about, but to be honest with you, not really. Like, we didn't have that communication within ourselves. Yeah.
In the book, you write that Austin made a lot of financial decisions without asking you, and that it was so extreme you would check your bank account and see 6 figures missing. Where was all the money going?
Yeah, there was moments where, I'd see some money coming out and it was, to pay this, pay that. And it was like, I didn't feel like I was having that like wife, like that partner, that husband and wife conversation about our finances. And it would be heartbreaking to look at the bank because I was very well aware of what was in there. And it's like, where did that go? Like, what's happening? Or like, one thing as well, it's like little things that, things that I would never think to pay for, like a private jet, for instance, that personally for me wasn't something I would ever do. Like if I had never met him, I would have never been on a private jet today. I'm like, probably never, because I'm thinking like, I'll just take a regular flight. But little moments like that.
But it seems, which makes me sad for you because I feel like that unfortunately is a lot of people's experience where you're like, I didn't feel like it was a partnership when it came to finances, and yet you were 50-50 and making all this money. Like, did you ever go to him and be like, Austin, I feel a little bit in the dark here. Like, we need to have...
Yeah, for sure.
And how did he react when you would bring that up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to worry. And I don't know. I just feel like, I get it, but it's like, that's not what a marriage is about. A marriage is about talking about these very deep things that really affect like our children and our future. And like, when you make certain investments, the goal is to at least make your money back, And so, that was really stressful for me. That really caused a lot of stress and strain in our relationship.
That's what I was wondering, because I know you write a lot about the home foreclosure that you guys went through, which was so public. And so many people were talking about it of like, are they broke? What's happening? And you put a lot of the detail beautifully in the book. But like overall, when you look back at that moment in your life, what did losing that house represent to you?
So leading up to that moment, I felt like there was a lot of things that I was losing control over, right? My family, my relationship, our career, everything, right? There was a lot of narratives and things that were being said. And I was really strong. And I was like, I'm going to be strong and, I'm going to keep fighting. And we have our home, we have our home. Our kids are happy. They're healthy. We're healthy. Everything's fine. And so one day I wake up and I get a phone call. It's my father-in-law. He said, Catherine, the house is under foreclosure. It's all over the news. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, well, your loan ended and it's a jumbo loan. No one's going to accept you. You don't have the certificate of occupancy. But I'm like, but I've been paying the mortgage every month for 3 years. Everything. What do I need to do? What do I need to pay? I'll save it. What do we need? There's nothing you can do. It's under foreclosure. It's gone. You have 30 days to move out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was heartbreaking. I cried an ocean. And it's crazy because out of all the things that were happening in that era, that was the thing that really broke me. Because I was looking for a home my whole life. It's like I just wanted to feel like I'm at home.
Can you explain to me, because I'm sure people are really confused and want a little bit of clarity on, like, there was so much going on behind the scenes, obviously, that people didn't know. Like, what was it really like between you and Austin when the cameras were off?
When the cameras were off, I wouldn't say that there was much of a change.
Okay.
I think if anything, at least I can speak for myself, I feel like I was pretending. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like I was just so disconnected from myself, not like everything around me, but like within myself, you know? And I was like, all of this happened so fast. Like, I gave birth. We started a YouTube channel. It grows overnight. I'm a new mother. I'm newly married. There's all these eyes on us. There's so many people that want things from us. And, you know, it was just a lot of things. And so when the cameras were off, it was more like, I'm just going to sit here and breastfeed my baby and just like scroll on my phone. Like, I never went out. I never hung out with my friends. I hardly saw my family. I was in a really dark place.
Let's talk about the cheating allegations.
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, there were so many different allegations of Austin cheating on you. And it was a pretty constant conversation online for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
At first, how much attention were you giving to these rumors? And did you even believe them when it first started?
When it first started, my heart sank. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I remember like sitting with myself, oh my gosh, like, is this going to happen? You know? And then it was like, oh, well, I see him. I'm with him every day. Like, we're co-parenting, we're married, we're business partners. I mean, when is he going to have time? But it's really interesting. I was telling my mom the other day, I remember when I was 16 years old and I walked into a room where the TV was on, and there was, it was that talk show, Tyra Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lady who said, if a man has enough time to go into the bathroom, he has enough time to cheat. And it just stuck with me. And I thought, does he have enough time to cheat on me? You know what I mean? And so that was kind of like the beginning. It's like, I don't know what's true or not. And, you know, and I'd even have moments where we'd be laying in bed, you know, just falling asleep. And I'd get a text from a random number. Your husband is out at a party with me, da, da, da. And I'm thinking like, he's right over here. So there's moments I didn't know what to believe. There's some things that are true. There's some things that are distorted. There's some things that are not true. So it was really hard to tell.
And in those moments, did you, because I know you're kind of saying your communication wasn't great. When the allegation started, did you bring it up to him at all? Or was that another thing that you guys kind of were like?
Yeah, no. I brought it up.
And what was his response in the beginning?
Oh, you know, that comes with the territory and let's not respond because we're just going to add fuel to the fire and it's not true. I'm like, okay, you know,
and you trusted him?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really trusted him.
When you look back at the very beginning, like the very beginning allegations, do you believe even then he was cheating?
No.
Can you take me to the moment where you found out about he was cheating? And then we'll dial it back to all the others. But the first big moment, you're like, oh shit, he's cheating. Where were you? What happened? The first big moment, you're like, oh shit, he's cheating. Where were you? What happened?
Yeah. So there was like quite a few moments.
Okay.
But there was a
Let's
couple
go through
of
it.
moments where I was like, I'm heartbroken.
Okay.
Like,
the first one. Let's go to the first.
So, you know, I don't remember exactly the first moment because I feel like there's just so many. But there was this one moment. I had just had my daughter, my second daughter. She was about 6 months old or something. And he was like, hey, I have to go to Miami for a meeting. And I go, please. And I'm the type of partner where I love for my partner to feel free.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I trust you. Go. You want to go on a trip? You want to go on a boys trip? Whatever you want to do, go. Like, that's just my personality. Now I look back, I'm thinking, like, I should change some things up a little bit and care a little bit more.
Right.
But at the time, I just had a baby. I was tired. I was filming every day. I had another baby. I'm taking care, changing diapers, breastfeeding. I breastfed all my kids 5 years straight. Wow. So, super exhausted, super tired, you know? And so he said, I want to go to Miami. And I said, you go on your trip. And I remember calling my mom saying, I would never let my husband leave when my baby's just a couple months old. Like, I don't know, you're different. And I'm thinking, oh, well, I don't know. I was like, I think he deserves it. He's been working so hard. People don't realize he edited every single video on our channel. We didn't have an editor. So I thought, he deserves to go out. Like, it's okay. He wants to go on a business trip, whatever. I remember that business trip like it was yesterday, that business trip. Mm-hmm. He called me quite a few times where I felt like, you're calling me a little too much. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just like, I don't know. Like, it's okay. Go have fun, you know? And he pocket dialed me accidentally. And I heard women in the back. There was a couple women. And I thought, okay, well, I guess my husband's hanging out with women. Yeah. I'm thinking, whatever. Hung up the phone, continued my day. A couple of months go by. And this blonde male makeup artist makes this video on YouTube talking about my husband and how he was in Miami. And there was this group of people. And there was all these girls. And there was this boat. And all these. And to be honest with you, till this day, I never watched the video. But I have gotten that like information from some good friends who watched it for me and were able to like process it for me and help me process it. And I was pregnant in that moment. And I had to listen to that. And nobody knew I was pregnant. I was having my son. And I remember bawling and thinking, is this true? And even if it's not true, why are people saying this? This is like so detailed and like, and I believed, I didn't believe the horrors, but it was like, am I just being stupid right now? Like, am I just really not sitting with this? Mm-hmm. Or do I vindicate him? Do I vindicate our family? And that's what I did. And I think back at my old self, and I think, poor girl, like, I wish I could hug her today. Like, she was just going through so much. And she, the old version of myself just wanted to protect that little piece we had in the family, And I would see it in his eyes and I'm thinking like, I don't know, like something's not right, but I'm going to have a baby and I have to focus on the baby right now. So I wasn't sure, right? And that was a big moment for me because there was some things that were being said that it just made a lot of sense. It was all adding up. You know what I mean?
And did you confront him?
Yeah, I did, but not in a way where I was like, it was more like, how do we fix this? Because this is not true. And he's like, yeah, that's not true. That's, whatever, this guy, and he's making things up. And oh my God, he's trying to extort me and this and that. And, some of those things were true. Some of them weren't. And I thought, how do we fix it? And I was just lying to myself. Yeah. I knew deep inside something didn't feel right.
Yeah.
But then a couple months later, I was, we were filming this thing called Vlogmas on YouTube. People film every day for the month of December. And we had done it, it was like a common
I remember.
We would do every winter. And this was in December. And I was, at that point, I was like about 3 months pregnant with my son. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I was having a boy yet. So I just, I was pregnant. I wore baggy shirts and like, I'd wear bigger shirts because I didn't want anyone to know yet. I wanted to keep it to myself, especially because there was all this like negativity going around about him. Yep. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. And then there was this moment that changed everything for me. I had a dream. I have a lot of dreams. Yeah. Very symbolic. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
I had a dream where I was walking into my bedroom, the bedroom I was sleeping in. We had this massive, long, 10-foot bed. I'm walking into the room and he's sitting in the bed and there's a woman with this beautiful blonde hair. And I just see the back of her and she turns around and she's this demon. And I woke up from that nightmare and I was crying. I was like, oh my God, that was the worst nightmare I've ever had. Like there was a demon on my bed. And the whole day felt eerie. It was so eerie. It was so weird. And I didn't tell anybody. And I was just like, that's so weird. Couple of hours later, we start filming. And we go to this studio to get my daughter's first haircut. She was a year old. She's getting her first haircut. And he, our assistant, who was Austin's friend from back in the day, was there. was Austin and myself and our daughter. And when we walked in, there's some fans and they were like, can we take a picture? And I'm like, yeah, like let's finish filming you doing this and we'll take the photo. So they're all waiting there. And, everyone in the salon knows who we are and stuff. So it was just, a regular moment. Yeah. We're there filming. He's filming our daughter's first haircut. And I'm kind of like, I'm taking photos for myself for my phone, like, oh my gosh, like taking the photo. And then like a movie, my phone dies. It just goes black. And I look at him without a thought and I go, give me your phone. Let me take a photo. Cause we're going to miss the moment. She's getting her first haircut. As soon as my hand grabs that phone, mind you, I had never looked in his phone. Ever. Never. I grabbed the phone and it felt kind of weird because I'm like holding his phone, right? It just felt odd because I knew maybe things he was hiding. I didn't want to look.
Yep.
As soon as I grabbed the phone, like out of a movie, this long text comes through. If you really love your wife, you wouldn't be da 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 da. And I like my brain scanned it, but I wasn't able to read it fully. But in that moment, my heart drops. I'm pregnant. There's people watching us. The camera's on. It felt like it just felt surreal. The assistant notices, looks at him. He grabs the phone from me and instantly deletes the message. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's true.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was calm, very calm. And we paid and we finished. I wasn't in my body anymore. I wasn't on earth anymore. We walk out of the store or the salon and I said, Austin, who was that? And he's like, it's nobody, it's nothing. Please tell me who that was. I saw the text. And I kept replaying what I could have done. Should I run to the bathroom? Should I what should I have done?
I tackle him and read it.
I was like, I didn't get to fully read it.
But you saw enough that it said, if you really love me, you'll leave your wife. It was an emotional, I saw enough to know instantly, this is an emotional relationship he's having with somebody. This is a woman that is having a relationship with my husband. And we got in the car and, then my voice got a little, who was that? Oh, lower your voice, the kids. And I'm like, okay. And I'm calming myself. The kids are in the car. Let's have grace, right? Stay strong, poised, get home. We get home, blacked out. I was like yelling, screaming, tell me, please just tell me who that was. Right. Please I feel so stupid. Just tell me, I'm having a baby. Please just tell me. And I ran out of the house. I got in my car and I just started driving. And I didn't know where I was driving, just driving. Crying in the ocean, bawling. I couldn't even see where I was driving. And I thought I need to park somewhere. So I went to a park, parked at the park, put my hands on the wheel. And I said, God, if you hear me, please tell me what to do. And in that moment, it's so interesting because I knew that one day I'd have a son and that I would name him Steele. There was this inner knowing. Mm-hmm. And when I had that conversation with God and I was really just like a point of just, I'm surrendering. Just tell me what to do. And I heard this voice and it was like, you are having your son. There's a reason you named him Steele. You have to stay strong for this whole pregnancy and just don't make any impulsive decisions. Just keep going. Just keep this in the back of your mind. It's gonna live there and you're gonna see everything's gonna make sense, but don't make any big decisions right now. And I went home and I acted like nothing. I acted like nothing. I didn't talk to him for a couple days. I think that was the longest we'd ever gone without talking since we met. I think we went 2-3 days. And then I texted him and I was like, we need to talk. And we took a drive. We met in the middle of a street and we got in the car and he told me who she was and he showed me. And I was like, okay, so that was the girl you were talking to a couple months back. Now it's all making sense. Like you said, you were talking to a girl that needed help with Snapchat. And I'm thinking why is a married man talking to a woman about Snapchat? Snapchat wasn't even monetized in the day. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Okay, this is making sense. Okay, this is making sense. Okay. So I thought, okay, well, what do we need to do?
Like, how can we move on from this? Like, what do we do? Like, I was like, and I didn't tell him this at the time, but I thought I can forgive him because he's crying out for help. And because at the time I wasn't religious. I still not religious. You know, I believe in Christ, but I'm not bound by like religious structures. But I was very like, you stick to your husband. I was very like traditional in that sense. And I don't know who made me like that, but I was just that way. And I thought, okay, maybe I can forgive him, you know? And so as the days went on, you know, then we went to a trip to Hawaii. Someone said we should go there because, you know, that's where the heart chakra of the planet is. And, you know, maybe we can get some healing. And so we went to Hawaii. And then that's when I had posted that I was pregnant. I'm thinking like, I'm getting bigger now. I need to post. And yeah, it's a secret that I was carrying inside of me. And I wanted to like scream out loud that I was going through this, but I couldn't.
Listening to you say this though, Catherine, like so many times now, you've said the minute you find out, you're like, how can we fix this? How can we fix this? And I think it does connect to what you've been saying of like, you're on this hamster wheel, you're out of your body, all of this happened to your life and you're just going and you can't even like stop to be like, are you okay? Like, it's almost like it sounds like you weren't even like feeling, like you were just like, how do we fix this? It's like almost like your business. You're like, how do we fix this and move forward? How do I say bye my man and move forward? I'm wondering though, when you're saying all this, like, is he apologetic in the car when he's speaking, or is he keeping it more like brushing it under the rug? It's not that big of a deal.